Ladies and gentlemen, every morning, when the first light breaks through the darkness, we are given a quiet reminder. These 3 words may seem simple, but they carry the weight of years of unspoken insecurity, of dreams quietly buried under the pressure to become someone better. In a world that constantly pushes you to do more, be more, look better, earn more, and fit into someone else's mold, it's easy to forget that your value was never supposed to come from the outside. It was never meant to be measured by numbers, labels, or opinions. It simply is because you are here. From the moment you opened your eyes to this world, you were whole. Not perfect, no one is, but whole in your humanity. Somewhere along the way, though, we start to believe that we have to earn our worth. We begin to attach our value to how productive we are, how loved we are by others, how flawless we appear, or how much we can achieve. But these are all shifting sands. What happens on the days when you fall short? When no one notices your efforts, when you feel alone or unseen, does your worth disappear? No, it doesn't. It's not your job to prove your value. Your very existence carries meaning. You are not a project that needs to be constantly improved to be acceptable. You are not an unfinished task that needs validation to be marked complete. You are a person growing, learning, and yes, sometimes stumbling, but every breath you take still matters. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Every time you choose to show up despite fear or pain, you are demonstrating quiet courage, and that, too, is worth honoring. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't need to tick every box to belong. What matters is that you are being real, that you're staying true to the person you are beneath the roles you play. You might be someone's daughter, someone's partner, someone's employee or leader or friend, but beyond all that, you are a human being. A soul with a heartbeat, a mind filled with thoughts that matter, a heart that feels deeply, even if the world doesn't always understand. So many people walk through life wearing invisible masks, trying to be enough. In the eyes of others, smiling when they're hurting, staying silent when they need to speak, or pretending to be okay because they're afraid of judgment. But the truth is, there's nothing more beautiful than someone who is honest with themselves. Someone who embraces their scars, owns their story, and walks forward with a quiet knowing, I am already enough. You don't have to wait until you fix yourself to start loving who you are. Love yourself now, not when you lose weight, not when you get the promotion, not when you find the perfect partner or land the perfect opportunity. Love yourself even on the days when you're tired, confused, anxious, or lost. Because your imperfections are not flaws to be hidden, they are pieces of your truth. They are reminders that you are alive, that you are human, that you are real. You've been through things that tried to break you. You've survived pain others never saw, and yet here you are reading this, breathing, trying. That says more about your strength than any resume, award, or number ever could. And even if no one claps for you today, even if no one sees your effort, you see it. And that's enough. You are enough on the days when you succeed and on the days when you fail. You are enough when you're confident, and you're still enough when you're unsure. You are enough in your loudest joy and in your quietest sadness. There is no version of you that is unworthy. Growth is beautiful, but it doesn't make you more valuable. It simply allows more of your light to shine through. And it's okay if not everyone sees your worth. Some people are too busy chasing their own expectations to recognize real beauty when it stands right in front of them. That doesn't mean your value is any less. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be yourself. You are not a reflection of other people's opinions. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are a soul that is growing, evolving, and learning to be gentle with itself. Give yourself permission to rest. To not always have the answers, to be messy and real and beautifully imperfect. Life is not a competition, and you don't have to be better to belong. You already belong to this moment, to this breath, to this experience of being alive. The mirror might not always show you what you want to see. Some days your inner critic might be loud, but let another voice speak to the voice of truth, the voice that says you have worth because you are you. Because no one else sees the world the way you do. No one else brings your unique heart, your insight, your kindness, your strength. That is your power, and that is enough. You are enough, not tomorrow, not someday. Now, exactly as you are, let this be your beginning every morning. Let this truth settle in your bones. You don't need to chase your worth. You only need to remember it. And when you do, when you start your day with this knowing, everything changes. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger. You stop shrinking, you stop hiding, you show up fully, freely, fiercely. So say it until you believe it, whisper it until it becomes your inner anthem. I am enough. And let that truth carry you into your day with courage, with peace, and with love. I am grateful for this day. It might seem like a small thought, an easy phrase to pass over, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful things you can say to yourself in the morning. Because when you choose gratitude, you are not just being polite or optimistic, you are changing the way your heart meets the world. You are telling yourself that even in the mess, even in the chaos, there is something worth holding on to. There is something good, and that realization, no matter how quiet, can change everything. Gratitude doesn't require perfection. You don't need a flawless life to be grateful. You don't need everything to go your way. In fact, the most authentic form of gratitude often comes when things are hard, when your heart is heavy, but you still find the strength to whisper, "Thank you. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this sunrise. Thank you for the chance to try again." Most of the time, we are trained to chase after what's next. We are taught to seek more success, more comfort, more praise. We think we'll be happy when we finally arrive at some future destination. But if you're always looking ahead, waiting for the next milestone to feel satisfied, you miss the sacredness of now. You miss the beauty that already surrounds you, the cup of tea warming your hands, the quiet stillness of morning, the sound of laughter in another room, the way sunlight dances on your wall. Gratitude teaches you to pause, to see, to listen. It softens your heart in a world that's always trying to make it harder. And when you start your day with that softness, everything changes. You're no longer waking up with dread or worry. You're waking up with intention, with the realization that even if things aren't perfect, they are precious. You don't have to be grateful for everything that happens. Some things in life are painful, unfair, even unbearable. But you can still be grateful within everything. You can still choose to see the goodness that exists alongside the struggle. You can acknowledge your sorrow and still say, "There's something in today worth being thankful for." Gratitude is not denial. It doesn't ignore your problems or pretend your pain isn't real. It simply allows room for light. It opens your eyes to what is still good, not because you're blind to reality, but because you choose not to be consumed by it. That choice gives you power. It gives you perspective. Imagine waking up in the morning and before touching your phone, before thinking about your to-do list or your worries, you simply place your hand on your heart and say, "Thank you." You might say thank you for your breath, for the chance to begin again, for your body, however imperfect it feels, for the people who love you, for the things that make you smile even if just a little. That shift doesn't make your problems disappear, but it does give you a stronger foundation to stand on. It reminds you that while life is unpredictable, there are still things you can count on, things that bring warmth, hope, and meaning. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, it changes you. It changes the lens through which you see your life. When you focus on what you lack, you shrink your world, you feel small, you become trapped in cycles of comparison, frustration, and self-doubt. But when you focus on what you have, when you really see it, your world expands. You begin to notice the colors in your day, the quiet victories, the gentle moments, the people who stayed, the kindness that found you when you weren't expecting it. Gratitude builds resilience. It strengthens your spirit. It reminds you that you've made it through days you thought you couldn't survive, that somehow, in spite of everything, you're still standing, still breathing, still open to what the day might bring. That in itself is a reason to be thankful, And the beautiful thing about gratitude is that it's contagious. When you carry that spirit into your interactions, when you say thank you sincerely, when you notice and appreciate someone's presence, when you acknowledge the effort behind simple things, you don't just uplift yourself. You uplift others, you create a ripple effect. You make people feel seen, valued, and loved. And that's something the world can never have too much of. Even on the hard days, there's always something to hold on to. Maybe it's the way your pet greets you. Maybe it's the chance to start again after making a mistake. Maybe it's the way your favorite song makes you feel, or how a stranger held the door open for you, or how your body still shows up for you despite how tired it is. These things might feel small, but they aren't. They are the heartbeat of life, the threads that hold everything together when it feels like it's falling apart. They are reminders that goodness isn't something you have to search for. It's already here if you slow down enough to notice. So take a moment, not because you have to, not because someone told you to, but because your heart deserves it. You deserve it. Breathe in, and as you exhale, let yourself whisper the words, I am grateful for this day. Not because it's perfect, not because it's easy, but because it is yours, and in claiming it with gratitude, you begin to walk differently, with grace, with purpose, with a quiet kind of strength that comes from knowing that even in a world full of uncertainty, there is always something to be thankful for, even now, even here, even in this moment, because this moment is life, and life, in all its mess and mystery, is still a gift. I am stronger than my pain. This is not a denial of pain, nor is it a claim that pain doesn't exist. Pain is real, it aches in the bones, it rests in the heart, it visits us all sometimes quietly, sometimes with a storm. But strength is not the absence of pain. Strength is choosing to rise again, even when pain tries to keep you on your knees. It's looking at your reflection, even with tired eyes, and saying, I'm still here. Pain wears many faces. Sometimes it's grief, quiet and invisible, yet heavy as stone. Sometimes it's the wound of rejection or the silence of being misunderstood. It could be the ache of loneliness, the weight of failure, or the quiet battle of anxiety that no one sees. Pain doesn't always shout often, it whispers, and yet those whispers can be deafening if we carry them alone. But within you, there's something deeper than the pain, something that refuses to give up. That quiet flame, the one that kept going when everything said you couldn't, that's your strength. That is the part of you that has faced heartbreak and disappointment, fear and uncertainty, and yet still found a way forward. There were days you thought you wouldn't make it, moments when the pressure felt too much, when the tears wouldn't stop, when the world felt too big and your strength too small, and yet here you are. Breathing, trying, living, that is not weakness. That is proof that there is more to you than what hurt you. You may carry scars, emotional, mental, even physical, but they are not signs of defeat. They are signs of survival. They are the quiet markers of battles fought and won, of nights endured, of mornings where you chose to show up again, even when you were exhausted, and yes, showing up counts as strength. So does resting, so does crying, so does saying, I need help. Strength is not always loud. It doesn't always look like bold declarations or fearless leaps. Sometimes it's simply getting out of bed. Sometimes it's sending a message when your heart wants to stay silent. Sometimes it's standing in front of the mirror and daring to say, I will not give up on myself. Pain often tells you that you are weak, that you are broken, but pain lies. Pain wants to shrink you, to isolate you, but your strength is found in your ability to keep loving, to keep hoping, even after all you've been through. It's found in your resilience, your ability to bend but not break, to feel deeply and still believe that something good can come out of it. You are allowed to feel it, all the anger, the sorrow, the fear. Feeling your pain does not make you fragile, it makes you honest, and honesty takes courage, but don't let the pain define you. Let it shape you, refine you, but never let it become your identity. You are not your trauma. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your failure. You are the one who lived through those things, and that makes you powerful. There's a version of you who hasn't met the healing yet, who still believes that this darkness will last forever. But there's also a version of you already inside who is walking toward the light, who is building peace day by day, who may not have all the answers, but who is not giving up. That version deserves your trust. Pain is a teacher, though a harsh one. It teaches compassion, depth, and empathy. It shows you what truly matters, and while you wouldn't wish for it, you can still honor what it's taught you. You've learned to listen more gently, to understand people beyond their surface, to value the little things, to hold space for yourself and others. That wisdom was born from your pain, but also from your strength to grow through it. Don't compare your pain or your strength to someone else's. Everyone carries their own load, and no one's journey is the same. What breaks one person may build another, and vice versa. This is not a competition. There is no prize for who suffered most or who healed the fastest. You are allowed to move at your own pace. You are allowed to still be healing. Every time you choose to move forward, even when it's slow, even when you take 2 steps back, you are showing strength. Every time you decide to believe in something better, even after disappointment, you are winning a battle that no one else sees. There will be days when your pain feels louder than your progress. On those days, be gentle with yourself. Don't measure your strength by how tough you seem. Measure it by how tenderly you continue to treat yourself, by how you give yourself permission to feel, and then still dare to believe in joy. You don't have to be fearless to be strong. You just have to keep going. Strength looks different for everyone. Sometimes it's found in deep breaths, in quiet prayers, in the decision to take care of yourself when it would be easier to fall apart. You are not weak because you hurt. You are strong because you keep loving in spite of the hurt, because you keep opening your heart to life, because you still dream, still try, still hope. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't wait for the pain to vanish before you believe in your strength. Instead, look in the mirror and remind yourself, I have already survived so much. I have already overcome more than I once thought possible. I carry the stories of my strength in every scar, in every step forward. Let pain be a chapter, not your whole story. You are the author. You decide what comes next, and it's okay if that next chapter still has moments of struggle. Healing is not a straight line, but with each sunrise, you get another chance to remind yourself, I am stronger than my pain. I am still rising, I am still me, and that is more than enough. Peace is not found in perfection. Peace is found in the quiet decision to let go, to release the impossible standards, the fear of falling short, and the need to constantly prove your worth. In a world that praises speed, success, and flawlessness, choosing peace is one of the bravest things you can do, because it means accepting that you are human, and that being human is messy, unpredictable, and beautiful in ways perfection can never be. So often we tie our peace to external things. We tell ourselves, I'll feel calm when everything goes right. I'll be okay when I've fixed everything. But life doesn't work that way. Plans fall apart. People change, we make mistakes. Nothing stays perfectly aligned for long. And if we wait for perfection to feel peace, we'll spend our whole lives chasing something we'll never catch. True peace begins when we stop chasing. When we sit down, take a breath and say to ourselves, this moment is enough. I am enough. That doesn't mean giving up on growth or ambition. It means learning to carry a sense of calm through the process. It means being kind to yourself on the days when nothing seems to go right, when you fall behind, when you don't live up to your own expectations. Letting go of perfection is not settling. It's allowing space for what's real. Perfection is rigid. It leaves no room for mistakes, no room for emotion, no room for being fully human. Peace, on the other hand, is soft. It forgives. It bends without breaking. It reminds you that it's okay to feel overwhelmed sometimes. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to be figuring things out. There's a quiet strength in choosing peace over perfection. Because perfection shouts, it demands more, louder, faster. Peace whispers. It gently asks you to rest, to breathe, to come back to yourself, and often that whisper is what saves you. Think about how much energy is spent trying to appear like everything is under control. How much effort goes into hiding struggles, smiling through stress, pretending to have it all together. But peace doesn't require a mask. Peace allows you to be honest. It gives you permission to say, "I'm not okay right now," and still believe that you are worthy of love, care, and rest. There is no peace in trying to meet everyone's expectations. No peace in trying to be everything to everyone. The more you chase the image of a perfect life, the more anxious and disconnected you feel. Real peace is found when you choose to be true to yourself, even when that truth is imperfect, even when it's messy. Sometimes the most peaceful thing you can do is slow down, not because you've achieved everything, but because you realize that your value isn't tied to your productivity. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify slowing down. You don't need to be constantly improving to be valid. You're allowed to simply be. Peace also means accepting others as they are. We create so much tension trying to control people, to fix them, to shape them into versions that match our expectations. But people are not projects. Just like you, they are growing, learning, and sometimes failing. Choosing peace means letting go of the need to control everything around you and instead focusing on how you respond. Your peace matters more than being right, more than proving a point, more than having the last word. Sometimes peace means walking away. Sometimes it means staying silent when every part of you wants to argue. Sometimes it means forgiving even when you're still hurting, not for them, but for yourself, because you know that holding on to bitterness only weighs you down. One of the most powerful forms of peace is acceptance, accepting the past for what it was, accepting people for who they are, accepting that not everything will be fair or make sense. Acceptance is not weakness, it's clarity. It frees you from fighting battles that are already over. It allows you to focus on what you can change and to make peace with what you cannot. There will always be voices, internal and external, that tell you you're not doing enough, being enough, achieving enough. But peace comes when you decide that you don't have to listen to those voices anymore, when you replace those thoughts with gentler ones. I'm doing my best. I don't have to be perfect to be proud of myself. Right now, I just need to breathe. Peace is not a destination. It's a practice, a daily decision, a quiet commitment to return to yourself again and again, even after chaos, even after doubt, even after disappointment. You can practice peace while sitting in traffic, while washing dishes, while walking outside. You can practice peace by being present, by letting go of the urge to fix every future problem and instead choosing to live this moment with care. You may not control what happens around you, but you can learn to anchor yourself. You can become the calm in your own storm. You can remind yourself every morning that peace is a choice, not always an easy one, but a worthwhile one. And when you begin to choose peace over perfection, something amazing happens. You begin to feel lighter. You begin to sleep better. You begin to appreciate things you once overlooked, like the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or the sound of someone's laughter, or the comfort of a deep breath. You begin to see beauty in imperfection, in crooked smiles, in unfinished projects, in days that didn't go as planned. You stop needing everything to be polished to find joy. You learn to celebrate the ordinary, the quiet, the real. You begin to treat yourself more gently. You stop punishing yourself for not doing enough. You start trusting that who you are, even on your worst days, is still someone deserving of peace. So let go of the need to do it all, fix it all, be it all. You were never meant to live like that. You were meant to breathe, to feel, to grow, to make mistakes and still be loved, to be human, not perfect. And in that humanness there is peace, waiting for you to choose it. This decision might sound simple, but it is one of the most courageous and transformative acts you can make. Choosing to love yourself is not about ego or arrogance. It's about recognizing your humanity. It's about offering to yourself the same compassion, patience, and kindness that you so freely offer to others. And it's not just something you say once, it's something you practice, especially on the days when you feel least deserving of love. There are moments when loving yourself feels natural, when you're proud of who you are, when everything falls into place. But those aren't the moments when this affirmation matters most. The real challenge and the real power comes when you choose to love yourself in the face of disappointment, shame, regret, or insecurity. When you look at yourself in the mirror and struggle to see anything worth loving, yet still whisper, "I choose to love you anyway." We live in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough, not successful enough, not attractive enough, not smart or strong or thin or happy enough. These messages are everywhere, and over time, they shape the way we talk to ourselves. We start believing that our worth is tied to how much we achieve, how we look, how others perceive us. But self-love breaks that cycle. It reminds you that your value was never something to be earned, it was always there. Choosing to love yourself is about reclaiming your story. It's looking at your past, with all its scars and wrong turns, and saying, "I forgive you." It's releasing the weight of old mistakes and realizing that growth doesn't happen without them. You're allowed to be a work in progress. You're allowed to have chapters you're not proud of. What matters is how you continue writing the story from this point forward. You don't need to reach some perfect version of yourself to be worthy of love. You don't have to wait until you've healed everything, fixed everything, or achieved everything. You can choose love right here in the mess, in the uncertainty, in the becoming, because love isn't a reward. It's a foundation, and when you build your life on that foundation, everything else becomes stronger. Self-love isn't always soft or easy. Sometimes it's saying no when you're used to always saying yes. Sometimes it's walking away from people or environments that make you shrink. Sometimes it's holding yourself accountable, being honest about your habits, and choosing to grow not because you hate yourself, but because you care enough to want better for yourself. Loving yourself means listening to your needs, not silencing them. It means resting when your body is tired, even if the world says you should keep going. It means feeding yourself with kindness, not criticism. It means speaking to yourself like someone you deeply care about, not like someone you're constantly trying to fix. There will be days when the voices in your head are cruel, days when doubt and insecurity feel louder than hope. On those days, self-love becomes a lifeline. It becomes the quiet decision to keep showing up for yourself, to hold your own hand, to be your own safe place, to remind yourself that you are more than your worst thoughts. Loving yourself doesn't mean thinking you're perfect. It means knowing that you're enough, even as you grow. It means celebrating your strengths without ignoring your flaws. It means realizing that your sensitivity is not a weakness, your emotions are not burdens, and your needs are not too much. It's giving yourself the grace to be exactly who you are and still be loved. Sometimes the hardest part of loving yourself is believing that you deserve it, especially if you've been hurt, rejected, or told you're not enough. But healing begins when you stop waiting for others to validate your worth, when you stop asking for permission to take up space, when you look inward instead of outward for love and decide to give it to yourself freely and fully. Self-love also teaches you how to love others better. When you know your own value, you don't settle for relationships that drain you. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't seek love from a place of desperation, but from a place of wholeness. And because you've learned to be kind to yourself, you extend that kindness more easily to those around you. You become more patient, more understanding, more present, because you know what it feels like to struggle, and you've learned how to hold yourself through those struggles. That's the kind of love that ripples outward, changing not just your own life, but the lives of everyone you touch. Choosing to love yourself also gives you resilience. Life is full of highs and lows, wins and losses. But when you've built a relationship with yourself based on compassion, you're not as shaken by external things. You don't fall apart every time something goes wrong, because you know how to return to yourself. You know how to sit with your pain without letting it define you. And when you fall, as we all do, you don't stay down. You reach for your own hand. You remind yourself of your worth. You get back up not because you never felt broken, but because you refused to stop loving yourself through the brokenness. There is nothing more powerful than a person who has learned to love themselves. Because that person becomes unshakable in the face of rejection. That person knows how to belong to themselves first. That person doesn't need to be everything for everyone. They've already found peace in being enough for themselves. So when you feel lost, return to this simple truth. You are worthy of your own love, not tomorrow, not when you've changed, not when you've earned it, but now, just as you are, with every scar, every struggle, every imperfect part. You are worthy of kindness, of grace, of rest, of forgiveness, of tenderness. You are worthy of love, and you have the power to give it to yourself every single day, not just when you feel strong, but especially when you feel broken. Because that is when love matters most, that is when it heals, that is when it transforms, that is when it whispers to your soul, you are enough. You have always been enough, and you always will be. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. It doesn't matter how messy yesterday was, how broken your heart feels, or how lost you were last week. The beauty of life lies in its quiet offering, a fresh start with each sunrise. No matter how heavy the past feels, the present moment extends an open hand. It says you don't have to stay where you are, you can begin again. This truth is not about forgetting the past, but about refusing to let it hold your future hostage. We all carry mistakes, regrets, and wounds that linger in our memories. But carrying them does not mean being defined by them. Beginning again means choosing to grow from what hurt you, rather than being buried by it. It means deciding that you're still worthy of joy, of love, of healing, even if you've stumbled 100 times before. Starting over doesn't always require grand gestures or massive changes. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a deep breath, as simple as choosing to respond differently, to let go of resentment, to give yourself grace. It could mean trying again, or it could mean trying something completely new. It could mean ending something that no longer serves you. It could mean finally starting something you've been too afraid to attempt. The act of beginning again is an act of hope. It's believing that change is possible, that growth is always within reach, that you are never truly stuck. Sometimes we convince ourselves that too much time has passed, that we've wasted too many chances, that we're too old, too tired, too damaged. But time doesn't run out on your ability to evolve. The moment you decide to shift even slightly, the direction of your life changes. Each morning, the world resets, the sky brightens, the air shifts. And you are given the gift of another chance, not because you earned it, not because everything is suddenly perfect, but simply because life moves forward and invites you to come along. You might not be able to erase the past, but you can rewrite the story going forward. You can redefine your narrative. You can say, yes, that happened. Yes, it hurt, but I am choosing to move forward anyway. That choice is a powerful one. It's the choice to live with intention, to take responsibility without shame, to allow yourself space to become. Sometimes beginning again feels like betrayal, like letting go of who you used to be means giving up on your dreams or on someone you once loved. But it's not betrayal, it's evolution. It's acknowledging that you're no longer the same person, and that's okay. Growth asks us to release the past version of ourselves to make space for who we're becoming. There will be resistance. Your mind might replay old fears, whisper doubts, try to convince you that it's safer to stay in the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. But beginning again means trusting the unknown. It means leaning into the possibility that this time can be different, that you can be different, and that doesn't mean you'll get it perfect. You might fall again. You might take 2 steps forward and then stumble back. But every attempt to start over is still movement, still progress, still courage. There is no shame in having to begin again, only strength in continuing to try. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. You don't have to have the full plan. You just need to take one step, one conscious decision to do something better, kinder, more aligned with the life you truly want. That step could be writing in a journal, going for a walk, drinking more water, saying no, saying yes, asking for help, apologizing, forgiving. Beginning again doesn't erase what you've been through. It honors it. It says, everything I've experienced has brought me here and now. I get to choose what happens next. It's a declaration of freedom, a refusal to let your worst day define you, a quiet revolution happening inside your soul. And you don't have to wait for a new week, a new year, or a milestone to begin again. You can start over in the middle of a Monday, in the silence of a sleepless night, in the stillness of a painful realization. Change doesn't need permission from the calendar. It only needs permission from you. Give yourself that permission. Let go of the idea that you need to be further along. Release the pressure to have it all figured out. Beginning again is not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about being willing. It's about saying, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I'm showing up anyway. There's no limit on how many times you're allowed to start over. No one is keeping score. No one has the right to tell you that it's too late. As long as you are breathing, you are still becoming. You still have time, you still have choice. There's something sacred about beginning again even in your smallest, quietest moments. It's a reset, a renewal of your commitment to yourself. It's you deciding that your life, your peace, your dreams are worth trying for again and again and again. So if you're tired, rest but don't give up. If you're discouraged, cry but don't stop believing. If you're stuck, pause but don't stop moving. Begin again, even if it's messy, even if it's slow, even if no one understands what it took for you to try one more time. Because in that trying there is power, in that small step forward there is a spark. In that moment of choosing hope over despair, you are reclaiming your life, piece by piece, day by day, breath by breath. Let today be your beginning. Let now be your starting point. Let this moment, not your past, not your fears, guide your next step. And as you begin again, remind yourself, you are not starting from nothing. You are starting from experience, from wisdom, from strength you didn't even know you had. That strength will carry you, and tomorrow, if you need to, you can begin again. In the journey of life, one of the most empowering realizations is that each day presents an opportunity to begin again. No matter where you've been, what you've endured, or how far you feel you've strayed from the path you once envisioned for yourself, the present moment offers a quiet invitation: start anew. And this isn't just a comforting phrase, it's a truth that holds the potential to transform everything. Because every fresh beginning is an act of courage, a declaration of hope, and a promise that you haven't given up on yourself. There will be days when you feel strong, focused, and full of purpose. But there will also be days when everything feels heavy, when doubt creeps in, when you struggle to get out of bed. On those days, it's easy to feel defeated, to believe that you've fallen too far behind. But starting over doesn't require perfection, it only requires willingness, a willingness to take a single step forward, a willingness to believe that even now, especially now, something beautiful can grow. You are not defined by your past. You are shaped by it, informed by it, but never confined by it. Each new beginning is a chance to take what you've learned, the pain, the wisdom, the resilience, and use it to move forward with greater compassion for yourself. It's a reminder that you are allowed to outgrow old versions of yourself. You are allowed to release old dreams and make space for new ones. You are allowed to shift, evolve, and reimagine your life as many times as you need to. And it's not just about starting over after a failure. It's about choosing growth even when things are okay. It's about not settling for a life that feels safe but stagnant. It's about listening to that inner voice that whispers, there's more for you. Whether it's the decision to pursue a new goal, change a mindset, leave behind a toxic habit, or simply be gentler with yourself, every step matters. The beauty of beginning again lies in its simplicity. You don't have to rush. You don't need grand plans. You just need to believe that where you are right now is enough to start. From here, from this breath, from this heartbeat, you can begin. And that beginning can hold more power than any perfect plan or flawless path. So take that breath, give yourself grace, trust the process. Know that every sunrise is a second chance, and if today doesn't go as planned, you can try again tomorrow. Life is not asking for perfection, only presence. Only effort, only the choice to begin again, with love, with courage, and with faith in the journey ahead.